Hey guys, so in this one we're going to create a drop item function, and to allow us to use it we will also create option widget that will open when we right click on the item in the inventory, and later on we can add to this option widget when we need to like salvage items or like maybe add sockets to it or enchant item or anything basically. First thing I need to do is do one small fix that I haven't noticed in a previous video. Someone pointed out in the comments that I forgot to connect in the interactable items the item info in create notify, so it was giving me empty notify. I don't know how I missed this, but if you've done the same, just connect the item info. That's all there is to it. Compile and save, and now we can go and create our options widget. So in widgets, right click, user interface, widget blueprint, and click on user widget. This one will be options underscore widget. In here we will add canvas panel as usual, and this time we'll add vertical box so we can hold all the buttons on top of each other. In this one let's resize it, so let's make it maybe 260 times 100. Yeah, that's enough for like 2 buttons now. Add the first button. And let's add text to that button. Now we can style it as well a little bit. So select the button. Let's change the tint to something darker. I don't want to have an outline or rounded corners, so I'll change the rounded box to box. You need to do it for hovered and pressed as well, otherwise it will look very strange when you press it. Now copy the tint, paste it into tint of hovered, make it a little bit lighter so you can actually see you hovering. Copy that one and paste it into pressed. Make that a little bit lighter so you can see you pressing it. And now what else we need to change? Also change the size of this button to fill. Don't worry about it stretching to the whole thing, we'll add another button so it will be fine. Now for the text we can make it smaller, so make it like size 18. I want to actually try this robot tiny because it looks better. And let's also change the shadow, so shadow color, and change alpha to 1 so it's got a little bit of shadow. Now we can wrap this button with the border, so we'll create the custom border. So do right click, wrap with border. This one padding settings will be set at 2. Make it slightly bit darker and maybe alpha channel 0.8 so it's a little bit see-through with a bit silverish. And now we can just select the border and Ctrl and D to duplicate. That will create the exact same button. One thing you can change is you got double border in the middle, so just select the border and change top padding to 0. Now select the text. First one will be our drop or drop item, and second one we don't really have to set for anything now, but we can just do like a simple destroy item function, and then when we need something else we can replace it. So compile and save. With that done, go to your player blueprint. In here we will create new function, so click on the plus icon. This one will be drop item. We will need 2 inputs. First one will be item info, so we can tell what item we're actually dropping, so type item info s. And second one we need inventory index, and that is because we will be using the remove item after we drop it, which removes item from the inventory, but it needs inventory index, so we need to also pass it to this function. So select drop item, create another one, another input, and this one is inventory slot index, or inventory index actually, and that this type integer. Compile and save. Now here we'll be breaking this item info open, so break item info, and now what we're going to do is spawn actor from class. The class we're spawning is not the one from the item, because we are spawning our interactable items BP. So interactable items BP. And now somehow we need to pass what item we want to spawn after we drop it. The problem is here we got the item name variable which uses enumerator, but we don't have that type of enumerator here. What we could do is create variable in item info s that will be same as the row name of the item, and we could just pass it on. But later on, when we want to create crafting with randomized stats, we wouldn't be able to pass everything that is in the item, and it would just go to the stats that we have in the data table, like the base ones. But we want to randomize them. So just thinking ahead, obviously we're going to do it a different way, and that is go to interactable items. We will now create new variable. Actually, we do not need new variable. All we have to do is click on item info. Let's make it instance editable and expose on spawn. Compile and save. Now in your player blueprint, if you right click and refresh nodes, it will show up here. So we can actually pass this whole item info. And then after we spawn this item, we will remove it from the inventory. So we need to just call, where are you, remove item function, and connect the inventory index. So it will, first we will drop the item with spawning the actor in the world. We will set its item info, which will make sure it works later, and then remove that item from the inventory. I believe we're also not refreshing the inventory in this function. So what we can do is also get our inventory reference and call refresh inventory. There we go. Now in our interactable items, so this one let us compile, and that is because we need the spawn transform. So what we can do is get this capsule component, which is, if you go to viewport, that's basically collision of our player. So it's the location of our player we need. So go to your drop item function. We'll get this capsule component. So drag it in. Get world location. We also need forward vector, so which direction we are facing. So get forward vector. We'll multiply that. So multiply. Convert this, right click on this pin node and do it to integer. Convert it to integer. Now we'll multiply it by, what do we need, 50. So basically we'll get which direction we're facing, multiply that direction by 50, then we'll add it to our location of this capsule component. Can do the first one. So you will just do add node, add these two together, and that's where we spawn the item. You can't connect it here. We'll just right click and split struct pin and connect it now to the first one. So basically we're now spawning it in front of our capsule components, or in front of the player, and it's only like 50 ticks, so it's right in front of the player. You don't want to, you can set it to like 200, which will be, you know, like 1 meter away or something, but you don't want to drop it too far because it also can go through the walls or anything, so just leave it like this. Now we have this done. Go to interactable items BP, and now when we got on begin play. No, in construction script. If you don't have it open, double click here. That will open it up. And here we will, when we're setting the item info from data table, we can first check if we actually have the item info set here already. And that will be only if we're dropping the item. So drag from here, break this open, check if it's valid class. So is valid class. And if this item is set already, so if we have item info, we don't need to get it from the data table, and we can just so drag from true, you can get the item info and this break again, copy it here, and if it's true, we will we actually can just connect it here to set static mesh. No, just let's do another one, let's do fresh one. So copy this, set static mesh, paste it here, and drag from true. And we will set static mesh from here. New mesh. And if it's false, so we don't have any item here, it will still find that item based on the item name enumerator. So now basically if we drop the item, we set this item info, that means there is a valid class, and it will use it to set static mesh. Right, now we can already drop item, we just need to set it up, that it actually works. So go back to your options widget. Now click on the first button, which is drop item, scroll down, and then do plus icon on clicked. In here we just going to, first we need the player reference again, so delete the tick so it's not in the way, and pre-construct, and from construct cast to player, blueprint, from object get player character. As player blueprint you promote to variable, this will be player ref, and now we can get this player ref and call that drop item function. Drop item function, and we'll pass it. We still don't have a item info or inventory index here in options widget, so we'll create two new variables. First one will be item info of item info s, and we also need that inventory index, which is integer. Now make them both instance editable and expose on spawn. Instance editable, expose on spawn. Compile and save. While we're here, connected here to drop item function. Compile and save. And now we can also, after we dropped it, we remove from parent this option widget. So remove from parent and reference itself. Compile and save now. Now we need to create this options widget when we right click on the item in the inventory. So we need to open our inventory icon. So go to widgets, inventory icon widget, go to graph. To do right click, you can't just select any button because it doesn't have a right click option here or anything. So what we're going to do is here on functions you can override, click on this override, and here you got on mouse button down. So on mouse button down, here drag from mouse event, check is mouse button down, and here we can select the right mouse button. And if the right mouse button is down, we'll do branch, so B and click, connect it here. So if you right click on this inventory icon or any inventory icon, we will first need to check if it has valid item, because we don't want to open options widget on empty icons. So break it open, check is valid class, branch, connect it to true. So these two conditions need to be true, and if they are, then we're going to create widget. Create widget. The widget will be the options widget. And now we can set the item info, which will be the inventory index, drag it there, and item info, drag it here. Compile and save. Now we need to add it to the viewport, so drag from return value, add to viewport. And now, so this will just create the widget. If you play the game now and right click on any item, not on an empty one, it will create the widget here. So you got drop item and destroy item, but as you can see, it created it in a corner. What we want to do is create it here. So what we're going to do is get mouse position on viewport, drag this back, connect it before this widget, return value, just drag back, break it open, so break vector to D. And now we can, after we spawn it, we can set desired size in view, set position in viewport. So we get where our mouse is located, and that's where we want to spawn it. So set position on viewport, right click on this position pin, split. Now you got the same value, and connect it here. Compile and save. This will spawn the option widget exactly where our mouse is. But now I would like to do that if we leave the widget, so if you leave that option widget, it will close it. So if our mouse leaves it, you know, we don't want to have it there anymore, so we don't have to press exit or anything like that. So for that, first we need to spawn it so our mouse is somewhere in the middle when we open it, otherwise it's, you know, we can close it by accident straight away. So what we'll do is drag from X and do minus subtract, and we'll subtract maybe 100 and connect it to position X, copy and paste, and from Y, since it's smaller size, we can only do 50 and connect it to position Y. So we subtract, and now if we were to play the game and right click, it doesn't work because we need to actually connect this return value to here, because we're setting position of this widget. And also you can remove the DPI scale because we're calculating our position ourselves. Now if you play the game, open the option widget, it's right in the middle where your mouse is. And now as you can see, we can open as many as you can, but what I mentioned is we want to close it when the mouse leaves, and there is a very useful function for that, and that is in our option widget, we can just right click and do on mouse leave. So when mouse leaves this option widget, we'll remove from parent, and it will be self. And now, so that will close the widget, get opening, and now what we can do is just go to your game. Let's test this out. So open your inventory, right click, drop item, and it removed it from the inventory. It refreshed the inventory, and you can see the helmet already kind of dropping behind it. So when you play the game, it drops to the ground, and it has the correct things set as well, so we can pick it up again, and it's the same helmet. And we don't need to destroy item, but while we have the button, we can also go to designer, click on the second one, do onClicked, and what we can do is just drag in player reference and get the remove item function. Remove item. And the inventory index we got here. And it will just remove it from the inventory. And call remove from parent. Remove from parent after as well, so it doesn't stay open. And we also need to call refresh inventory. So drag in from player reference, get inventory reference, and refresh inventory. Compile and save. And now you can drop item and you can destroy item. Perfect. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.